What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily, and in this video, we are checking out the brand new Samsung Galaxy A37 5G. This is the latest mid-range device in Samsung's cheaper A-series lineup. It's one step below the all-new A57, which launched alongside it, and it's obviously the successor to last year's A36 and all the A30-somethings that came before it. It is, frankly, a bit of an odd device. It's really not that cheap compared to, say, Samsung's A17, which is the real budget banger and all-around bestseller. Its lesser specs and features, I think, fall a little short to where you kind of just want the A57 to have that more complete smartphone. And perhaps worst of all, this phone now takes the crown as the least upgraded new 2026 smartphone compared to its previous year predecessor. What's new? Well, I wish I were joking, but this A37 is IP68 water resistant instead of IP67. It's powered by an old Exynos chip that's technically a little better than the old Snapdragon chip that graced the A36, and that's it. But calling this phone an upgrade should be an actual crime. I hate to sour the video right off the bat like this, but I'd rather you know up front what we're working with here. I also know that nowadays, most people don't upgrade their phones every single year, so perhaps this A37 looks way more enticing if you have an A35 from a couple of years ago, for example, or an A15, which is an older, much less powerful device. But if that's the case, then I'd probably still recommend something else. Setting my preemptive grumpiness aside, I'm still going to fill you in on everything you need to know with this new A37. I'll talk about the things I like, the different aspects that set it apart from the A57 and the flagship phones too, and hopefully this will help you decide if maybe this new A37 is actually the phone for you. But first things first, of course, let's just quickly unbox it. I'll get it all set up, and then we'll see everything this new phone has to offer. Now, something Samsung is doing with these new A-series phones is actually outlining some of the standout features right on the box, and this is what they say is important to know about this A37. It has a slim design and long-lasting battery, enhanced camera, intelligence features like AI Select, and 6 years of software updates. I'll address each one of these selling points throughout the video, but I can tell you right away that none of them are even kind of specific to this phone. So I'm trying my best here to rip off the stickers, but for whatever reason, an additional tool was required this time. And as we slide off the lid, the first thing you get is the phone itself, a very, very glossy phone for sure. Setting that aside for a moment, there's nothing else in the bottom of the box, obviously, but stuck inside the lid there, you'll find the standard issue Samsung stamped packet of accessories, which just has a SIM ejector tool, a couple small packets of setup information and legal info, and a regular old USB-C cable for charging. No surprises here, and frankly, not much to even complain about anymore. This is the same unboxing experience these phones have had for a number of years. As we peel off the last layer of protection and power it on, I do want to talk about pricing and availability because I think that's already going to be a major factor for this phone. The full retail price, unlocked and direct from Samsung for this new A37 is $449, and that price gets you 128 gigabytes of storage. It's $100 cheaper than the A57, so certainly some sort of savings by comparison, but when previous A30-somethings sold for $250 or $280 or even $400, this phone now feels kind of expensive with its never-ending price increase. $50 more than last year, along with everything else being more expensive in today's world. The only saving grace is the fact that this phone will likely be sold pretty much everywhere. It launched in the US alongside the rest of the world, and some, if not all, the major carriers and prepaid networks will probably start offering it this summer at various price points. Straight Talk, for example, already has this phone listed for $349 if you sign up for one of their plans, so plenty of opportunity to potentially save money if you really want this phone, or maybe it's one of the few options that's available to you. At 6.7 inches, the new A37 is the exact same size, design, and dimensions as last year's A36, and frankly, many a Samsung smartphone from yesteryear and today. It still has slightly thicker black borders framing the screen with a subtly larger bottom chin, and a screen-to-body ratio that does date this phone, even in what's considered to be a budget tier. The chunkier bezels don't really impact the fit and feel in your hand. It's more of the overall visuals of this phone's display being framed by an obvious frame. The back of the phone is covered by the same Gorilla Glass Victus Plus that covers the front display, so it is arguably a pretty premium build, which is nice, but rather than a metal or aluminum frame like the A57, this phone is technically plastic, though it's so thick and metal-like with its finish that you probably can't even tell. What's most annoying about the build, frankly, is just how glossy this phone is. The A57 is the same way. Samsung calls this a new design feature, and it's been a long time since I've seen a phone get so smudged and mucked up with fingerprints. And all I can see is my ugly face staring back at me. Half the time, I can't even get my camera to focus on the phone. It just wants to focus on the reflection. And while this color option here is the awesome charcoal, I think it looks more like a gloomy gray. It's certainly not black if you were expecting that, and I honestly recommend at least getting one of the other actual colors. Violet, which is available here in the US, or gray-green, which is one color, or even the white one might be better than this. Like I mentioned at the start, the only other noteworthy thing about the build is its new IP68 water resistance rating, which is a pip higher than last year. And as far as this phone's slim design, well, unless I'm missing something, this phone is the exact same thinness as last year's A36. It's not as thin as the A57, and it's much thicker still than the actually thin S25 Edge. So I have no idea why Samsung thought that was something worth highlighting here. Taking a quick look around at everything else, there's nothing on the left side of the phone. On the right, the same old volume and power buttons as always, a couple mystery holes up at the top, and at the bottom, the main loudspeaker alongside the USB-C port, which itself is also flanked by more mystery holes in the SIM card tray. Be careful where you poke, aim for the hole that's furthest from the USB-C port. Different models of the A37 support dual physical SIM cards or dual eSIMs, depending on where in the world you live. And I mentioned already, this phone starts at 128 gigabytes of onboard storage, and actually just 6 gigabytes of RAM. You can spec up to 256 gigabytes of storage, and that'll get you 8 gigabytes of RAM, which normally I'd recommend, but with the price increase, maybe it's not such a worthwhile option. And there's allegedly a 12 gig model of the A37 out there in the world, but I really don't recommend spending all that extra money on that. This phone also has the same plain Jane optical in-display fingerprint sensor, which is fine for the most part, but I'll talk more about this in a second. The phone feels, a little slow overall, and unlocking is just the first indication that maybe either the processor or the 6 gigs of RAM just isn't enough here. When it comes to the viewing experience, I'll taper the complaining for a moment and just say that this phone does have the same screen specs as last year, the exact same. It's a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED panel, a full HD 2340 by 1080 resolution for about 385 pixels per inch, and it's a 120 Hz refresh rate screen as well. Jokes aside, I really don't have anything to complain about. I've felt for years that the cheaper and mid-level A-series phones offer great screens for the price, and while the price has gone up, the screen still looks great, even if it hasn't changed. There's really not a whole lot you could even upgrade on this without entering gimmick or gamer phone territory right now. The AMOLED panel on the A57 is technically the better plus variety, but this phone has the same brightness, the similarly colorful visuals, it's perfectly sharp, and the 120 Hz refresh rate obviously gives you that fast and fluid feel. All of which I also realize is sort of the default Android screen experience, and has been for maybe 3 or 4 years now. The only thing I wish Samsung would move past is this dated design with the bezels, which I already harped on. And maybe that's not such a huge deal for some people, but I still see a ton of folks talking about how old and chunky a phone like this looks with those black borders. All in all, Even though nothing is new here, and Samsung doesn't even mention much about this screen, I think it's a great display for what it is, and it's not that far off from what you're still getting on the regular S26 flagship right now, if you can believe it. Even though you're starting to come closer and closer in price to that phone, it feels like. Also, the out loud speaker setup is surprisingly good on this phone too. It's nothing special, and I don't think it's changed in years either. The secondary speaker is still just the earpiece pairing, but even at max volume, your music or videos or whatever else you're listening to sounds pretty good. Now, I know I've sprinkled in my various gripes and groans about this phone already, but I'm really going to go off now because this phone's processor and performance just doesn't really feel right. Inside, this new A37 is powered by the more than 2-year-old Exynos 1480, the same Samsung-crafted component that was stuck inside the A55, which was a better Exynos chip than many of the previous iterations that cemented a less than stellar reputation for the Exynos name, but likely still isn't the preferred option for folks who are particular about their processor. Pair that with a measly 6GB of RAM, and what we're working with here is a combination of components that should have probably been left in 2024. Here are the current Geekbench scores for this processor in this phone, and unfortunately, the choice of chipset is obviously not the only factor we or Samsung is dealing with here. I know other world events have caused supply chain issues, cost increases, and other unforeseen circumstances that may very well have impacted this phone's innards and its overall release. And I also don't necessarily expect Samsung to develop and release all new components inside an all new phone every single year, especially for a mid-tier A-series phone. But I also question the need for releasing a new phone every single year with all those stipulations in mind. I mean, arguably, you could get a used A55, which might even have more RAM, for a lesser price than this phone right now, or any older but more powerful flagship device. There isn't anything new, special, cutting edge, or even different with the specs or performance, so if you know even a little bit about what's inside other devices, this one really becomes a hard sell. The only advantage is that this phone does ship with One UI 8.5, which is a weird advantage, and I don't know why Samsung has such a staggered OS release, even for their previous flagship phones right now. And you'll get 6 years of software updates starting now, which means you're a year ahead or 2 years ahead of the unnamed older but more powerful phones I half recommended a moment ago. But the software experience, for better or worse, is a little limited, in so much as that you don't get the full suite of Galaxy AI features that Samsung so heavily promotes now. In fact, on these A-series phones, they're just called intelligence features, and you do get AI Select, which is advertised on the box, but there's even less here than what's in the A57. But hey, maybe you prefer that. And looking past everything else I've said, just using this phone out of the box, it frankly feels a little clunky. It's not slow per se, just jittery. It launches apps really, really fast, but doesn't load things within the app all that fast. And the 6 gigs of RAM is really limited. After about 10 or 12 apps being opened, you basically start to lose your progress in the handful of apps you might have loaded. And I don't even think 6 gigs of RAM is enough nowadays to keep up with Samsung's general OS experience. I feel bad being so critical with so many factors here affecting the performance angle, but at the end of the day, Samsung kind of expects people to be using this phone for up to 6 years. And 6 years from right now, with 6 gigabytes of RAM and an 8-year-old chip component, I'm not so sure I'd be okay with what I bought today. And with so much overlap in specs and features across multiple tiers of devices now, I personally feel it makes more sense to perpetually buy last year's better device, like the A56 or A55 or an S24 for that matter, rather than being stuck with a full price, barely refreshed current or new phone like this. Just my 2 cents, but maybe you guys have a totally different perspective. Also powering this phone is a 5,000 mAh battery, which on the one hand is a good size, but it's probably the same exact battery that's been stuffed into every Samsung phone for half a decade now. Is it long lasting, like the box says? Well, sure, these A series phones have been full day devices and then some, especially if you use your phone sparingly compared to the rest of us who are scrolling nonstop. But there's no outright battery improvements here or upgrades. No wireless charging still, and 45-watt wired charging, which is great, don't get me wrong, but that was a new feature last year and is just a carryover once again. Finally, let's talk about the camera enhancements. There are none. Hardware-wise, this A37 has the exact same camera setup front and back as last year's A36. You get a 50 megapixel f1.8 aperture main lens, an 8 megapixel f2.2 aperture ultra-wide lens, the just stuck on there for the heck of it 5 megapixel macro, and up front, you'll be staring back at the same 12 megapixel f2.2 aperture selfie camera. Inside the camera app, you'll have a hard time finding anything new, and in fact, one or two options, like single take, have mysteriously vanished in One UI 8.5 and need to be re-enabled within the Camera Assist app. The only actual enhancements Samsung mentions in their material for this A37 is better nightography. So you should see brighter, more detailed, and less noisy nighttime and low light pictures, which is okay, something, I suppose. But there are no other actual capability add-ons, feature improvements, or new things that otherwise enhance the camera. And in fact, just snapping a couple quick sample shots here, I would say that there was probably more that could have actually been improved. I'll put the new nightography enhancements to the test in a later video when the sun goes down, but regular daytime shots on this phone still look like they're being taken on a budget A-series device because, well, they are. They're still a little noisy, with less detail, and they struggle when conditions aren't perfect, like if there's a window in the background or the lighting is harsh. Even the selfie camera is a little fuzzy, and this does feel a little short of what I think should be today's camera standard for even a phone in this tier. But remember, it's $450 still. I don't think any of this is a deal breaker necessarily. I just don't know that camera enhancements should have been an outright highlighted selling point for this particular phone. This new A37, to be completely honest, is the kind of phone I really have a hard time talking about. Is it new? Yes, technically, but is it actually a better, upgraded, or otherwise different device than the previous generation? Arguably no, not by any substantial measurement or significant way. I mean, almost nothing that Samsung says is a selling point here is actually new or unique. And running down the spec sheet, you find, what, 2 or 3 things in total that are even different? My biggest issue overall is just the simple fact that with all the talk of supply chain issues and component shortages and crazy high prices for RAM and storage, and the sustainability angle, recycling materials, minimizing the carbon footprint, this A37 being released, where it's more expensive but basically the same as last year, feels like it doesn't fit with the problems and proposed solutions being yapped about by everyone right now. We also know that not everyone buys the next new device every single year either. Samsung knows this too, and they acknowledge it. So this felt like the perfect time to skip a year, to skip a release, regroup, and really launch something different when the world was ready. This A37 is not that. And I fear that it may be the least enticing, lowest selling A-series phone in Samsung's lineup this year. But what do you guys think? Am I missing something here? Are you seriously considering this new A37? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.